Hey there, Seahawks fans. Thank you all so much for clicking on today's video. Now, if you want consistent updates around Seattle, news and rumors, both in season and in the off season, well, now is the best time for that. Hit that big red button and subscribe as we get ready for some rumors and news today around Seattle. Let's begin with Jamal Adams. Is this a revenge game for Adams? Remember, he gets to face his old team, the New York Jets, this week, and there is no Greg Williams. Fun fact, Greg said before the year, Adams might be bored in Seattle. And then Adams has gotten to blitz a ton and is on the verge of setting the record, I should say, for the most sacks by a defensive back in NFL history. I'm pretty damn sure that Jamal Adams is looking forward to this game. Now, he hasn't done a ton in coverage, but despite missing some time this year, he's got 8 tackles for loss and 7.5 sacks. Now, it comes from a position that you don't normally see utilized as a almost full-time pass rusher or almost a full-time linebacker, but I like what Adams has done this year. I know you want more in the passing game. I get that, but I like how Adams has fared this season. He has been impactful in the passing game thanks to those blitzes. He's been a good run stopper. He's been a good tackler despite being banged up, shoulder most recently this year. I like where Adams sits going forward. Now, of course, for Seattle, they gave up a lot to get him. And in terms of a contract, he's probably going to be fairly expensive. So looking ahead here, beyond this season to the offseason, heck, maybe even next offseason, what is the most you would pay Jamal Adams per year on an extension? Is it $12 million, $15 million? Do you dare approach $20 million? I am very curious where you guys sit here. So this is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, I want you guys to scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's talk more secondary here. How about Quinton Dunbar? Is he going to return for Seattle? That's what Pete Carroll expects. We mentioned this briefly in the preview. Now I want to go more in depth on it. As you guys know, Dunbar has been on IR for the past 3 weeks with a knee injury. And Carroll says he expects Dunbar to return to practice. Now, maybe that's today, maybe it's later in the week, maybe it's next week. Either way, the exact timeline is not known, but it is a big potential boost for Seattle. Now, early this year, first 3 games, when Quinton Dunbar was healthy, he was targeted 24 times, allowed completions on about 54% of those for 212 yards, 4 pass breakups, and 1 interception. The last 3 games, as Dunbar was banged up during this time frame, targets were fairly similar, but the complete percentage went way up, the yards went up, the touchdown skyrocketed at its infinite growth, folks. 1 pass breakup and no interceptions. A healthy Quinton Dunbar, I genuinely think you can make the argument, is right on par with Shaquille Griffin, and I like Griffin quite a bit. So if you can get Dunbar back healthy, even with Trey Flowers on IR, now you can move DJ Reed back into that nickel corner role. You can bench Ugo Amadi. He can become your CB4. You can still use Ryan Neal at times as a dime corner or dime safety, whatever role you want to play him in. I like that for Seattle. So I think they'll be cautious with Dunbar because you need him come playoff time, but I think a healthy Dunbar is a massive boost to this secondary if he's healthy, and hopefully that ends up being the case sooner than later for Seattle. Let's talk Carlos Dunlap now. He was limited against the Giants, as you'll see in a minute or so. He's currently dealing with a foot sprain. Pete Carroll says he is hopeful that the Seahawks star and top pass rusher, outside of maybe Jamal Adams actually, is going to be closer to 100%. And that's a big deal for this team. Now, it didn't really cost them too much defensively, I should say, against the Giants because, well, they just ran the ball. But the snap count for Seattle against the Giants among the edge rushers. Rasheem Green, Benson Mayowa played 57%. LJ Collier, who is, he's just been a bust so far, 43%. Dunlap was in a pass rusher rotational role at 41%, and then Alton Robinson brought up the rear at 21%. Dunlap, when he has been out there this year, in terms of the actual pure defensive lineman, a.k.a. not Jamal Adams, has been the team's best player, best defensive lineman. Since the trade, yes, only 13 tackles, but he can still get after the quarterback, folks. 5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. I have been pleasantly happy with the way Dunlap played. He did not play well for the Bengals, but he was upset about that entire situation. Since the trade, he has been a significant boost to a team that needed that boost at the pass rush spot. So what I want you guys to do here is grade Carlos Dunlap for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to factor in for my answer, but I do, of course, want you guys to go vote. I'm going to factor in what it costs to give up to get him. Not very much. I think that trade for the Seahawks, I thought it was an easy A, but let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Let's talk offense here, kind of Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll's talking again about trying to find balance, and I that is fine. I do worry at points about being balanced for the sake of being balanced. In the NFL, balance is not 50-50. Balance is favoring the passing game with the way the rules are set up, with the way offenses are going, and with having a Russell Wilson at quarterback. Now, being able to run the football does matter, especially if the offense has issues throwing it at times. And the offense has struggled the past few weeks. Third downs remain a huge problem for this team, and I don't love the third down play calling, frankly. I miss early season Russell Wilson. And although the Let Russ Cook campaign started off great, it was cooking with gas, and then the gas caught fire the past 5 games, I do not want to go away from that, especially against the Jets this upcoming week, who they're actually decent against the run. They just suck against the pass, as we saw against the Raiders, for example. So, look, I know Pete Carroll wants balance. That is fine at some level. I do not think you should abandon the Russell Wilson-led pass attack. I know things have struggled the past few weeks. I don't think that's the best path, though, if you're Seattle looking forward. Now, we do still have this deal available for about 6 more days. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Seahawks125. That'll take you to the BetUS site. And when you put down at least $100, it gets you 2 things. Number 1, a 125% deposit bonus, a.k.a. lots of extra money to play with. And if you email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com, we'll get you guys hooked up with one of these 2 jerseys, a Russell Wilson one or a Jamal Adams one. Now, as a reminder, these are only available for new BetUS customers. So if you signed up with one of our other deals, you're not eligible here. But email us, Seahawks@chatsports.com, if you want to get in on this deal. All right, to wrap things up here, I do want to discuss Michael Kendricks. I saw some mailbags around Seattle asking about him, so I thought it was a good thing to bring up here. He is still on the Seahawks practice squad, and he did play a fairly key role last year for this organization. Now, despite that, Seattle has yet to activate him on game day, and maybe you're wondering, okay, well, why? Kendricks played pretty decently last year. I think the answer is fairly simple. They don't really need him right now. They are playing less 3 linebacker sets, which I approve of. It's 2020 in the NFL. Come on, stop using base defense. Use nickel like a normal team. But you got Bobby Wagner. KJ Wright's played pretty damn well this year. And the past couple of games, Jordan Brooks has emerged. I like Shaquille Griffin and Ben Burke-Irvin, Cody Barton as backups in terms of special teams mostly. And you have, of course, the option to promote Kendricks if needed. He has not been used at all yet on the active roster. You still have those 2 free call-ups. And then if there's an injury, you have Kendricks. I think that was the main reason of adding Kendricks to the team. It was going to take time for him to get fully into game shape, as we saw with Damon Harrison, for example. And so far, Seattle hasn't needed him. So I think the answer is you wanted to be patient, and Jordan Brooks has played pretty solidly, especially against the run. So at that point, you don't really need Kendricks. But having him on your practice squad, that's a nice little boost just in case you need him come playoff time.